Welcome to Words of Wisdom, Gyan Ganga of Virat Hindustan Sangam channel. As you know, every day we have this show at 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Many viewers have been asking us what is the website by where we can register as members. So I wish to inform you once more that our website is www.vhsindia.org, where you can register yourself to be a member of Virat Hindustan Sangam, which is founded and headed by Dr. Swamy. As you know, today our program is on gender equality inherent in Hinduism. And for this, we have our usual guest, Dr. Subramanian Swamy. We have with us V.S. Chandralekha from Chennai and Srimati Lakshmi Bayi Nalapat to have this discussion with Dr. Swamy. Lakshmi Nalapat is a columnist and a writer, and she writes regularly on Hinduism and the god goddesses in various columns, and she is just performed a hat trick for going 3 consecutive summers to Kailash Mansarovar. And with us we also have Srimati Chandralekha, IAS retired from Tamil Nadu, and she has been the first woman collector to be posted outside Chennai city in the districts, and she has held various postings in Tamil Nadu administration. At present, she is the president of Tamil Nadu unit of Virat Hindustan Sangam. With this, I start today's show, and I would request Dr. Swamy to give his introductory remarks. Then Mrs. Chandralekha and Mrs. Lakshmi Bayi Nalapat will participate in the discussion. Over to Dr. Swamy.
Thank you very much, Jagdish, and welcome to 2 guests. Of course, they are not strangers to us. They're part of the organization. But still, on this program, we welcome you. And this topic is very important because it's an international topic. So that's why I have to speak in English. And that is gender equality inherent in Hinduism? That is, by nature, Hinduism has been structured on the question of gender equality. Now, when you discuss this question, and before I hand over to the 2 speakers, before we proceed on a debate, we need to define equality, because it's quite clear on the face of it that there are many differences between man and woman. She has a different name, as in Sanskrit they say nama and rupa and karma, and karma, of course, being defined as function. So there are, the structure, physical structure, the name, the things that the women can do and men can do, and one can't do the other. I mean, that sort of thing. I mean, certainly men cannot give birth to babies. That's one clear difference. So we are not on that issue. The gender equality means essentially the ability to perform duties in a society for the society, where the essentially involves the use of the brain, and the brain education and ability. And these are things where there is no difference. And the question is whether in Hinduism, unlike in many other religions, for example, Christianity did not give voting rights to women for in the United States, and only in I think 1920 the women got the right to vote. So in our society, women have been warriors, women have been scholars, women have been leaders, women have been queens leading armies. So therefore, the question, general question that we have to formulate is the concepts of Hinduism such that by nature women and men are equal? Now, I I mean, I'm talking in the plane of intellect and the plane of performing certain very important, functions for the society as entrepreneurs, as generals of the army, as presidents, prime ministers, etc. So this question is something we can, by the examples that have been seen by us, we can take pride that for all the countries of the world, it has been much easier for women to break the what they call is the glass ceiling than in other countries. We have had prime minister who's a woman, we have had ambassadors, we have had chief ministers, many chief ministers. Today also we have chief ministers. All of them are terrors in their own right. I mean, those who have been and are today. So as far as IQ is concerned, it's quite clear in competitive exams when the results come out for the class 2 or 12, where you find the first 3 positions are nowadays generally being taken by women. And if you go to the ISRO, the Indian Space Research Organization, you find more than 50% of the scientists there, rocket scientists, they are women. And they are not any so-called quote-unquote modernized women. They're all dressed in Kanchipuram silk, and they have got nose rings, and they have got big tikas and so on. So the issue is that there is no requirement in Indian in the Hindu culture for women's liberation. All we have to do is follow Hinduism properly, and then that would ensure that the women and men are the gender equality comes out to the fore. So what is the relationship between man and woman is that of duality. Both need each other, and both have to therefore function together. And this duality is what is being described in many places in our Upanishads. So I would say that if you look at very critical situations, women's word was ultimately had to be followed by all the men. For example, take Mahabharata. It is the determination of one woman to revenge and to make the other side atone for the humiliation they put her to, and ultimately the Mahabharata war took place. And I'm talking about Draupadi and her being attempted to be disrobed in open court. Similarly with Sita, although the British have tried to distort that, but she was a person of clear mind. When Ram brought her to Ayodhya after marriage, he told her that, usually when we arrive at the husband's house, residence, we give a present to one's wife. So I want to give you one present, that I will not marry any other woman. You are the only one who will be in my whole life. And which, of course, he lived by that promise. And she, in return, gave a promise that if ever in his administration as a king, as a future king, there was anything that would embarrass him because of her, she would leave. And so the myth that was created that Ram sent away Sita, and a pregnant Sita, and a cruel man, so on, it was rubbish. In fact, he tried to plead with her, argue with her. It's all there in the Ramayana, and especially Valmiki's Ramayana. And therefore, this is deliberately propagated to say that Hinduism is a backward religion. It does not believe in gender equality and so on. Similarly, in earlier the case of her doing an Agni Pariksha upon being rescued from Ravan, that was because, as Rama himself explains to Lakshman, that before coming to Nasik area, he had summoned the Agni Devata and had asked him to look after Sita. And consequently, as a replacement, he gave what is called as Chaya Sita. And so when he wanted to get her back after the victory in Lanka, he had to make her go through the fire, and the real Sita emerged from it. So therefore, there was no Agni Pariksha. And even the word Agni Pariksha doesn't exist in connection with that in the Ramayana itself. So I'm saying there's so much distortion going on. And so I would like to know from the two modern ladies sitting here, who have been well-read, they have experienced, in fact, Chandralekha herself became the first woman collector, and so she had broken one glass ceiling there. So I would like them to be frank and say, what is the current situation? First of all, answer the question whether it's inherent in Hinduism, properly analyzed. And two, we all agree that today women don't have equal rights with men. In fact, women are being put upon in all kinds of crimes and so on. So what is it that they would like to see happen, and how the matter should be proceeded so that our ancient values, Hindu values of women's empowerment and women's equality with men in matters of social and political affairs and family affairs is restored. So over to Chandralekha first, and then to Lakshmi Nalapat, and then we will have a discussion with further questions from the other three here, and all four of us will outnumber you so that you can ask tough questions to you. So Chandralekha.
Honored to be part of this discussion today, Dr. Swamy. I am a very proud Hindu and a staunch Hindu, and I think I have derived many of my qualities, which are seen as very courageous and very assertive, from being a Hindu. And I've handled many tough situations and broken in my own way the glass ceilings, not only as a collector, but in many of the other positions which I have held. I was whether Secretary Rural Development or Director Rural Development or Chairman TICO. I was the first woman to hold these positions. I think Sanatana Dharma gives me the logic for being assertive. Durga Saptasati says, Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samstita Namastasmai 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 Namo Namaha. That means she resides in everyone as the Shakti. So I think I have that Shakti to do whatever I want. But having said that, my religion gives me this right. It is not apparent sometimes. I have to assert myself. You were talking about Draupadi, how it is her insistence that led to the Mahabharata war, and she could get her honor restored. But in that you will see that though she had 5 husbands and so many senior people like Drona and Bhishma in the court, they didn't come to her rescue. She had to argue her own case, and ultimately it is God in the form of Krishna who came to her help. Even later, when they go to the forest, you find that Jayatratha misbehaves with her. But and when Bhima wants to kill him, Yudhishthira, whom I call Adharma Putra, he intervenes and says that Jayatratha being his Duryodhana's sister's husband, he should not be killed. So for him, Jayatratha's wife are much more important than Draupadi's honor at that time also. And later also, after the Vanvas is over, and he is willing to take just 5 villages, he somehow wants to avoid the war. Even Arjuna, at the battlefield, he is more bothered about killing his relatives, and he is not bothered about Draupadi's honor being restored. So the men were not really, their priorities are different, I think. For them, their clan, their honor is more important than a woman's honor. So it is Draupadi's insistence which saw that the war came about. And she went and spoke to Krishna, and Krishna promised her that definitely I will ensure that the war takes place. So women have to, in this society, present day also, We have to assert ourselves, and we cannot depend on anybody. We have to stand on our own feet so that our rights are not taken away from us, and we have to. And once I establish my command and my position, I find men fall in line and they respect me. So the women, my advice to women, it is not just enough if they get educated, but they have to get empowered. I see some of my women colleagues also I know who married their own batchmates, but still they got beaten up by their husbands. And they were only complaining, but they could not leave them and come out of it. That means the woman still feels she is dependent on a man. I think this thing should go, and she should stay in a relationship only where she is respected. And that is why I am not for reservation for women in politics when they say that assembly should be reserved for them, because I find in the panchayat level where this women reservation is given, it's the husbands who are managing the show and not the women. So these kind of reservations will not give woman the real position, but it is her own empowerment. She has to be taught that how she has to see that her rights are not trampled upon in the name for the sake of family, etc. Then only then the women can come up in life. That's all my initial comments.
Okay. Lakshmi?
First of all, thank you for having me on this show, Dr. Swamy. Certainly, I agree with Chandralekha's assessment about Dharmaputra. However, I would like to go a little further back. And I would like to start with Adi Parashakti, the first woman in our in the Hindu philosophy and knowledge. If you look at any stotra, you find that Shiva Kare Manche, she is sitting on a cot made of Shiva. Okay? And then Kimva Krishnangri Patma Dyuti Bheda Vishnu Padya Padavya, she whose black legs are shining from the gems on the crown of Vishnu. So that is the position of Adi Parashakti, okay, in Hindu system. Now let's go to Ramayana. We've taken a big jump. We've forgotten all from Matsya to whatever it is. We've got to Ramayana. Even though Ramayana is basically the story of Rama, the perfect man, the prime mover like Kaikeyi, who gets Dasharatha to send him to the forest, Shurpanaka, who's mutilated, and therefore her brother takes revenge on Rama, and Sita herself. Okay, then you go to Krishna Avatar. One of the issues which is facing women today is body shaming. You're too fat. That's something I hear all the time. You know, you're too thin. You're too whatever. Now you find that Krishna, the most handsome of gods, married Jambavati. Jambavati is the daughter of Jambavan, and she's a bear. You know, her father is a bear. So you can imagine her looks. But Krishna accepts her as his wife. So body shaming is not there. Take the Pancha Kanyakas of Hinduism. Okay? They are Ahalya, Mandodari, Sita, Draupadi, and Tara. Tara, the wife of both Sugriva and Bali. Except for Mandodari and Sita, all the other three women have had more than one husband. Now, when you say empowering women, my issue is that women don't need empowerment from outside. It does not mean that a woman has to do exactly what she pleases. No. In a society, you have certain norms, right? But when her desires are taken care of, that means every kind of desire, okay? She has the right over her body. She has the right over her education. And I'm sure, Chandralekha, you have experienced this also. When a woman is economically independent, how many women would choose to stay in an unhappy marriage if they have a financial outlet? Okay, so lots of marriages are because she's got no option. Now, I would like to add also one more thing. Rukmini sends a love letter to Krishna. She's never seen him. She sends a love letter to him and says, my brother wants me to get married to Shishupala. Come and save me. Now, today, if a woman writes a proposal letter to a man, how would she be viewed? Today, I'm talking about 2020. There is one more issue which I would like to present. We are talking about men and women as two genders. In Mahabharata, there is a very important third gender. That is Brihannala. When Arjuna, the greatest warrior, becomes Brihannala, he becomes a eunuch. And to fight Bhishma, because Bhishma will not fight with Shikhandi, who is Amba reborn, and he knows that. Arjuna actually takes shelter behind Shikhandi. So I would say that the third gender, it's a question of differences in, like you said, differences in duties, but equality in respect and opportunity. That's all.
Well, first of all, I think there's one point both of you will have to clear. Each of you has spoken about individual men not being, favorably disposed towards gender equality. I am talking about theology. Does the Hindu religion, I'm not talking about Shastras, I'm talking about the Shruti, I'm talking about Vedas, I'm talking about the Upanishads and the Aranyakas. And in any of these scriptures, is there a debasement of women? And which you see in Christianity. For example, Christ had married Mary Magdalene, according to some historians. But even the mention of it is considered as blasphemy. And you will be interested to know that there's a theory that Christ, after the resurrection, came back to Ladakh, where he had originally come to learn Buddhism. And in Srinagar, there's a place called Kaniyur, where there are two graves which are still being looked after by a family of generations after generation by a family, where it says in the board that this is the grave of Yesu and Mary. So now in the Western thing, it is structured that way. The so-called original sin, so on, all these things are structured to put the women in a low position. Is there anything in any of our Shruti, there's God-given, our holy books, in which women have been considered as inferior?
Yes, when the women are not, for example, there is more importance given to a male child. They always say you must produce more sons.
Bahuputra labha.
They want more sons. And also, there is a preference among all families to have a male child. Why? Because they say it's a male child who will inherit everything from you. And also, he is the one who will do all the last rites, etc. for you. The women are, their gotra is changed at the time of a marriage. I don't understand why.
But where is this in the Vedas or in the Upanishads?
They're all part of the Shastras. And today
the Shastras are amendable.
No.
Shastras cannot be considered as permanent.
No,
it is an amendable thing, just as Manu's was amended by Yajnavalkya by Mitakshara, and now by the Constitution of India.
No, that is true. But then this is what is now generally being followed. You can say
I'm not on that. No, please don't. We are these are all points I would agree with. They're valid, but the fact is, I am not on that. I am saying is the theology of Hinduism.
It is theology of Hinduism which says that you have to have a son. If you don't have a son,
there's no such thing. There's no such thing in any of the Vedas, the Upanishads, or the Aranyakas, which are only the God-given part of our theology. So that's what I'm saying. Certain practices have come. There are certain practices.
No, certain practices came. They must have had some. They should have drawn that thing from the Shastra, from these books.
May I-
Shastras you cannot rely on for theology. But anyway, you made your point.
No, but this has made whatever it is. See, we have to see it practically. This is what is today. If there is
No, I don't want to see practically.
there is
I'm
a
not-
preference for having a boy, and then a girl is given a minor status. Yes.
No,
that
there's
is
nothing inherent about Hinduism.
You
This is
can't-
a practice that has come.
Why?
Anyway, just before we go further on your argument, why not get an input
You know
from
something,
Lakshmi?
Ram? No, you
Why
know
would-
something. Dasharatha had a daughter. Do you know? So why did you have
Dasharatha had
Ashwamedha?
three wives, but Rama had only one.
No, that's a different matter. I am saying Dasharatha had one daughter. He could have made her his waris. Why did he have this Putra Kameshti Yaga and get 4
Oh,
children?
that
Because
is a
his
fact.
daughter was married to Rishabh the Rishi.
You
So
are,
he had a daughter.
your hero is not Dasharath.
My
and
hero
we are-
Rama is also not my
Anyway,
hero.
see, we agree to
We are not
disagree.
on Rama or Sita.
You
but
agree to disagree. You are saying this is the practice, and that's
Yes.
the important thing. I am saying I am just at this moment at the exploratory stage, whether the theology of Hinduism advocates this anywhere, and that you have not yet brought that a single example. What is Lakshmi?
Theology I can't talk of because I'm not expected to study Vedas.
All right.
I'm
all
not
right.
taught Vedas.
Okay.
So I can't go into it and
All
tell
right.
you this is what.
Let's
So
hear
there starts the discrimination.
let's hear what
Women are
Lakshmi has to
prevented
say.
from reading the Vedas.
Let's hear what Lakshmi has to say.
I can't recite Gayatri Mantra.
Okay. Well, these are all new fatwas that you are issuing. Tell me, Lakshmi, how much
See,
of it you agree with her?
see, I agree with the Putra Kameshti part of it. Why should there be a Putra Kamayashti? It's very specific. It is not Santana Kamayashti. Correct? That is one thing. Second thing is, basically, how do you define Hindu theology? What part of it is Hindu theology? If you read the Shiva Purana, Shiva is the greatest. If you read the Vishnu Purana, Vishnu is the greatest. So it is too vast to make a general statement about it.
No, Puranas are not part of the Shruti literature, theology. Vedas, that is the 4 Vedas, and Upanishads, and the Aranyakas.
Dhanam, Dhanyam, Bahu.
Bahuputra Lava.
No.
That is the mantra which is recited in Vedas
Yes.
after the whole yajna is
Well,
done. Why Bahuputra Labam? Why Bahuputri Labam is not there?
Yeah, it could be Bahu Santana Labam actually.
Santana Labam.
What are sons?
Gender neutral.
How do you explain that in the end Kali had to be born?
Because the guys couldn't handle the. I mean, the male.
Therefore, does that show any gender bias?
No.
And then there you are. That is what I am trying to. Let's not fall prey to this Western stereotyping of us. I am saying that yes, the status of women today needs a lot of improvement.
Kali
Lot of
did,
improvement. But
Kali did, Kali arose out of the fire.
I can't do it in Islam. I can do it in even in Christianity is tough. But when it comes to Hinduism, if the women get an equal status, that will not be against the Hindu theology.
No,
Why
that
the three are keeping quiet? They don't want to get into this quarrel.
How do you then explain the way women are treated today?
No, I'm not on that. We'll have a separate session for that. We'll have a separate
is
session.
something because there is
I am in agreement that women are not treated well in the 21st century. At the beginning, these 20 years of the 21st century. And so also 19th century, 18th century, 20th century, all that. But I am not on that. I want a starting point, a unanimity that there is nothing in the theology which would prevent us from campaigning for the restoration of equal status of women in the sense not as I said, it's not in the sense that they are equally strong physically. They can lift as many boulders as men can. They can run longer than men can, or whatever. Nothing of that kind. The pure intellect and the ability to manage societies there is no difference in our theology. And that is why, unlike all other countries, we find women have been commander-in-chiefs. You don't find that in any other. The only one was Joan of Arc, and she was burnt alive. And the next great teachers, when Mandana Mishra and Adi Shankara had a debate, they had to bring a woman to be the umpire, the wife of Mandana Mishra, who found him a loser. And maybe there's a moral there too. But the fact is that across the board, you find women have participated in the decision making for society, in the education in society. And that has to be restored, which we have lost on the way. Yes, Jagdish, what do you have to say?
No, my point I want to make is coming back to the modern times, just look around us. We are a subcontinent and many countries around us, whether it is a little far away Israel, whether it is Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Bangladesh, in India, and we are supposed to be poor countries in recent comparison. But women have been having important positions, whether it is in Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka. So don't you all think this is the influence of the original Hindu culture, which has influenced the whole thinking in this subcontinent about women empowerment? There may have been some wrongs or some aberrations here or there, but what about this woman empowerment, which is very deep in the Hindu philosophy? Don't you think that is coming out in these important positions being held? Till today, there is not a single woman president of the United States of America. The first woman prime minister came to United Kingdoms or Britain just about 3 decades ago. So what do you have to say, Dr. Swamy, Chandralekha and Lakshmi, on this phenomena?
Even in my initial opening remarks, I did say Hinduism gives me the power. I didn't say it doesn't give me, compared to the Abrahamic religions, where the women are openly told to be inferior species. Hindu religion gives the respect to the woman. So that is why we have been able to rise to big positions, powerful positions in this country. But you have to understand also, this is not because of men. It has got, the women have worked towards that. Okay. So what?
No, 1 minute. No, Chandralekha, I want to interrupt. Our topic is not because of men or what. We are talking about our Hindu philosophy. Because of that, there is no discrimination about with women. Whether it is due to men or due to women, we are not talking about it.
Theoretically, yes. Theoretically, that's why I've already told you that I agree with that. Theoretically, yes. But that practical situation also you have to see. So how these Shastras have been either misinterpreted or something, that needs to be corrected. That's all I'm saying.
No. There, for example,
if this has to spread among all the women, I can't talk about women like me, but there are so many other women in this country who need to get that equality. They are not getting it in this country.
No.
Take an ordinary rural woman. You take me today. You see, she does all the work in a village. The husband, whatever little he earns, it goes into the Tasmak shop, liquor shop. The woman works, but all your government schemes are all given in the name of the man. The woman doesn't get it. You give pattas, free pattas. It is not given in the name of the woman. It is given in the name of the man. That means there is a male-centric idea in the policy makers. And that derives from the religion.
May I?
Let Lakshmi say.
Okay, granted that in the Shastras there is the Bahuputra Lapam. There are no differences between men and women. Agree, okay? We are all descendants of those Shastras, of those people who followed those Shastras. Then isn't it doubly terrible that the condition of Indian women are like this? When we have that as the root, how far away have we moved from our original Hinduism? That's my question. Second thing I would like to say, I come from Kerala, which is a matrilineal, matriarchal society. So this male son does not apply to, fortunately.
Why are you only talking about Kerala? Even my Mangalore is matriarchal.
Of
You
course.
know that.
Of course. That's why you're
Women have
Sorry.
played an important role.
You are matrilineal. Both of you are matrilineal, not matriarchal.
Ah.
Yeah.
Matrilineal, not matriarchal.
the economics is in the hands of the woman. Bottom line.
See, first of all, Chandralekha has conceded the basic point that the Hindu religion is not hostile to women's advancement.
Yes.
All right. She says today it's not like that and wants to know why. And the answer is very clear. What happened in the last 1,000 years? Do I have to recite that history?
No,
And
but
how much
what are independent? So let us not talk about
Ma'am,
history.
just
What happens to the Indian history?
let's hear Ramesh. He's being
no. I just want you to complete your answer so that I can come in. That's what I'm saying. I just
The
want you to
present
complete.
history.
Yeah,
What have we done in the last 70 years to set right the situation?
Right.
I'm not responsible.
No, we are not discussing whether the Congress government or the BJP government. We are talking about our Hindu religion and the role of women. Let me tell you, 700-800 years, Dr. Swamy said about 1,000 years of slavery. Many bad things have happened, maybe even the position of women. For example, I always am surprised when I go to North India for a wedding. I notice that the reception is before the formal wedding takes place. Many people, our VHS members, recent wedding I attended in Delhi, I notice it is past midnight that the wedding ceremony takes place and there is a reception prior to it. I'm sure this system is not there prior to the coming of the invaders who invaded India. There was some adaptations done, maybe it's for protecting the women or protecting the families. So certain things have, over a period of time, some bad things, to prevent some bad things, some local adjustments may have been done. So if there are something wrong today in society or discrimination against women, it is not due to the original Hindu religion. It is due to this last 800-900 years of invaders trying to, what I would say, get the better of the Hindu society or trouble the Hindu society. It may be due to that, perhaps. I'm just making an observation. I don't know.
See, you are said, no, even our ancient scriptures say that a woman, once she is married, she belongs to the husband and to the family. Now, in North India, if you see, the girl's parents can't go and stay with the girl. They can't even drink a glass of water in many families. You know that? Because
But is it something sanctioned by the Hindu religion or is it some practice?
That is the key point.
Because the religion says, wait a minute. No, I want to argue. Because your mantra says that once you're married, you belong to the husband's clan.
Ma'am, we are digressing from the topic. I mean,
Yeah.
No, I'm not digressing.
No. The core question from Swami is: in Vedas, is there an inherently gender equality? I mean, you're giving examples of what is happening today. All of us agree that it is wrong.
I don't think any one of us are experts in Vedas to talk about it. At least I have not read the Vedas. I'm not supposed to read the Vedas. Okay. But you can't say we have no definite rulings from that. For that matter, in Vedas, there are many women rishis. So obviously they must have learned Vedas.
Okay.
But then today you are not allowed to read study the Vedas, women. How do you say for that? What do you say for that?
You can go to Higgin Gautam and buy the Vedas.
Our religious leaders will have to get together and do some reform in the religion and bring back better system.
But that is a different topic, you see.
How?
We can have another discussion on how to rescue the situation of women in the present day world, which of course all the Naxal people are all discussing all the time. The issue is that are we starting with the obstacle of the religion itself?
No.
Yes.
If there was an obstacle, then it would become a uphill task. If the religion sanctions equality, then in that case, you see, we would be in a, what is that?
Hello?
The religion is not the obstacle.
Hello?
But the way it is being interpreted is the obstacle.
Yes.
Of course. So I am only not concerned with the interpretation. I'm not concerned with the application. I'm concerned with the basic axioms of the theology, which is Vedas, as I told you, the 4 Vedas and Upanishads and the Aranyakas. Now, we may not be experts, but certainly you can acquire this much knowledge from other experts. That whether there is a gender inequality built into it or not. That thing I have examined by talking to people who know the Vedas very, very well. And they say, no, not at all. So I've spoken to Parmacharya about this, who had very strict views on when women can come to see him and not see him. But when I asked him in theological terms whether a woman holding office is correct, is it permitted, can a woman lead the army, he said absolutely no block. So it's not necessary that I should be an expert on Vedas to speak about it here. If I have spoken to authorities on it, then I'm entitled to state here, which you have agreed also, there's no dispute here, that in terms of the theology of Hinduism, there is nothing against women's status being equal. In fact, the gender equality is inherent in Hindu religion. That is what we wanted to establish, and I think we are all agreed on that, if I'm not wrong.
May I interject?
May I come?
Yes, sir. Of course,
Dr. Swamy, I've heard you yesterday also, you said that there are 2 parts of Hinduism, Shruti and Smriti. Now, what the discussion is about, Chandralekha is supporting what is being said in the Smriti. Now,
yes.
let me just quote Manu Smriti, for example.
Yes.
So, yesterday I mentioned there are 12 Manus. There's not a one single Manu who can be followed. There are 12 Manus, and every Manu was contradicting and improving, or maybe differing from one another. Manu Smriti 9.3. 9.3 says, I don't know, I missed the first part of this discussion because I was on another online discussion. Her father protects her in childhood, her husband protects her in youth, and her sons protect her in old age. A woman is never fit for independence. This is Manu Smriti. Now, this Manu Smriti has gone against the Shruti.
But
And
is it a genuine
progressed,
Manu Smriti or one of your 10 or 11?
No, this is Manu Smriti 9.3. I'm
But you
quoting it.
said there are many Manu Smritis.
So this is the first Manu, Adi Manu.
Are you sure?
Adi Manu.
Well,
Now, Adi Manu also said. Now, I also said.
No, I have seen this.
The
But
women
I have
was
been
created.
told that this is not there in Manu Smriti. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So even if it's there, it is Shastras. I don't have to necessarily.
It also says the women was created to accompany to man to perform obligatory duties and facilitate procreation, preservation, and continuation of family lineages.
Why are you addressing this to me? I am not the defender of the Shastras, you see.
I don't think
I don't
Manu
believe
is a
in any
married
of the
man.
Shastras.
That's all I can say. I don't think Manu is a married man. I mean, looking at what he had written, because it's utter nonsense.
So I think we have to conclude.
Yeah, 11:15.
Ramesh wants to say anything, a closing remark?
No, we are coming to the end of our program. I would request now Dr. Arvind Chaturvedi to please have the last remarks, and we'll close the program because we are running out of time.
Thank you very much, Dr. Swamy, V.S. Chandralekha, and Lakshmi Bayi Nalapat for a very heated discussion on whether Shastras were right or Manus or Smriti and Smriti is never-ending discussion. And as I said, unless you have the Shastras to quote, Vedas, Shlokas to quote, really you can't arrive at a conclusion by hearsay or what we look at in the practices today or what we have been seeing, we are making our remarks, and therefore we cannot say at this point in time that there is a gender inequality in Hinduism. Dr. He has supported that there has always been an equality. There has always been chances for women to be given in the society to compete with men. And of course, over a period of time, some distortions have taken place. And these distortions have actually created a situation where women is subservient to the man, and therefore the inequality is on the surface what we see. Thank you very much for very enlightening discussion. Of course, as Dr. Swamy said, we can have another discussion if you want to reach a conclusion. But for today, thank you all the speakers and experts. Thanks to my co-host Jagdish Shetty, Ramesh Swamy, and the technical team led by Ashish Shetty. Tomorrow we are going to have our guest Rajiv Malhotra once again, and Rajiv Malhotra is going to have a discussion with Dr. Subramanian Swamy tomorrow at 8 p.m. IST, and the topic tomorrow is there an effective rescue package for India? Till then, thank you, namaskar, Jai Hind.
Thank you.